Hi, everybody. It's Pop Gus here coming at you. I have a song I'd like to play for you. It's by Bobby Dylan. I think it's probably the most amazing song he ever wrote, called The Times Are a Changing. I just want to play two verses of it, but wow, just amazes me at the how he can nail things with his music and his words. Come gather around people wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that sooner you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you better start swimming, or you'll sink like a stone. All the times they are a changing. Come senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall. For he who gets hurt will be he who has stalled. There's a battle outside and it's raging. It'll soon shake your windows and rattle your walls. All the times they are a changing. Oh, I got to do one more verse. Mothers and fathers throughout the land, and don't criticize what you can't understand. For your sons and your daughters are beyond your command, and your old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of this new one if you can't lend your hand, for the time they are changing. Oh, they are a changing. Oh. Well, there you have it. I had to do that third verse. Always loved that one a lot. And it's not to say that you diss your parents. You don't diss them. Don't disrespect your parents. But there comes a time when really parents have to kind of back off and let the younger generation take over and do what they're going to do and make the mistakes they're going to make or not. So anyway, it's a really powerful song, I thought. And Bobby Dylan wrote that back in the 60s. Wow. Anyway, a lot of people have done it. Peter, Paul, and Mary, and I think Joan Baez probably sang it. Of course, you probably don't even know who I'm talking about. But Peter, Paul, and Mary are worth looking up on YouTube, I'll tell you that. They really nailed that thing. Anyway, that's my song. Now I'd like to say something practical to y'all. The practical today is about introductions. How to introduce people and how to be introduced. Okay. First of all, when you introduce somebody, you say, how do you do? It's nice to know you. You've seen this person before, and maybe you have known him for a long time and you want to introduce your friend that's with you. You say, Bill, this is my friend Joe, so and so. I'd like you to meet him. And he says, how are you? And they exchange glances and then they shake hands. And when you shake hands with somebody, I want you to remember something. Take hold of the hand. Now, you don't have to turn it into a physical battle, but you do have to take hold of the hand as if you mean it. In other words, don't give them a dead fish. How do you do? No, take hold. How are you? It's nice to meet you. Okay? Now, when introducing a woman, first of all, if you're introducing a woman to a man, the woman stays seated because a woman is a woman. Okay? So the man will walk up to her, and if she puts her hand out to shake, you shake her hand. But proper etiquette says if she puts her hand out, you shake it. If she doesn't, you don't. You just stand and have your hands, ready in case. So there's how you do with a woman. Now, when an older person comes into a room and you're there with your friends and introductions are in order to introduce you to this older person around the table or to one friend that's there with you, you stand up. You honor that person. You honor their age by standing up. And then they introduce you, and if the older person is a man, he'll put his hand out to shake. And when you shake his hand, take hold of it, look him right in the eye and say, how are you? It's nice to meet you. Something along those lines. Okay, and if it's a woman, you're standing up and you're waiting. If she puts her hand out to shake, you gently take her hand and shake it. Nowadays, when women shake your hand, a lot of them really snatch onto your hand and really make you know they're there because they've learned about that. In any case, as I said, you wait for a woman to either put her hand out or not. Okay? When you're out to eat at a restaurant and you're with your girlfriend or your wife or your mother or your mother-in-law, or when a woman gets up from the table to go to the ladies' room or whatever, you stand up to say goodbye to them, to allow them to leave. You stand up as an act of respect. Okay? So these are just a few little things. I think that when a man stands up to leave, I don't believe you stand up then when a man stands up. It wouldn't hurt because showing respect, I don't think you can go wrong if you show respect in any case, okay? But as I said before, when you're introduced to a man, you look him in the eye. As a man, you look him in the eye and you acknowledge him. How do you do? It's nice to meet you, and so on like that. Now, if you're a young girl and you're sitting down, you wait. If the man is an older man and he puts his hand out, take his hand, shake his hand. Okay? But normally the way to do it is to wait to see if the woman will put her hand out. If she does, then you gently shake it. And you say, it's nice to know you. Nice to meet you. Nice to finally meet you. Something along those lines. Okay? So, the basic thing I want you to understand is do it with grace. Do it with an eye-to-eye contact. Now, you don't have to bore through them. You know what I'm saying? But you should meet them eye to eye. Okay? That's politeness. That's etiquette. Okay? So, there's the practical for today. Hey, you probably already know this, I understand. But being the millennial that I am, and by the way, I do identify more with millennials than not. I think I'm a millennial at heart. Now, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I have a rather short attention span. If you watch TV with me, which I don't watch that much TV anymore, but when I do, and I have the remote in my hand, oh boy. When an ad comes on one channel, I'm skipping to the next channel to see what's on there. Or I might have two channels I'm watching at once in order to, when the advertisement comes on, I go to my alternate channel to watch what's going on there. In any case, I have a millennial attention span. I guess it's ADHD, ABCD, whatever the heck they call that stuff nowadays. And I probably need some kind of medication for it. But back in my day, you never took medication. You got smacked. Pay attention, Bob. So anyway. It was a different world back then. So there wasn't as much understanding as there is nowadays. In any case, though, I turned out okay, I reckon. And with that in mind, I just wanted to encourage you that if you do have a kind of a short attention span, I heard various ideas about that. They say the attention span is like 4 seconds or something like that, and then you got to see something else. I know a lot of advertisements on television, they skip from one thing to the next. I mean, it makes me almost dizzy watching some of those things, being the oldster that I am. In any case, I would like to just encourage you to be who you are, encourage you to have the attention span that you have. Now, there is a place maybe for a little more patience, and I guess we all need that. We all need to kind of work at patience. Because sometimes somebody's telling a story, like right now, me with you, and you're thinking, whoa, where's this guy going? You know, what's he talking about? Well, sometimes it takes a little bit of patience, especially listening to an older person. Just hang in there, because eventually we're going to get to the meat of the subject that we're talking about. And you want to be there for that, okay? I know when I used to listen to my father tell me something, or my mother, I'd be fidgeting around, nervous and not really wanting to be there, but out of politeness, I would stay. And sure enough, they would share something with me that was maybe an interesting story, maybe an interesting thought or concept, something that I could take and use in my life. So I encourage you, if you have a grandparent or even your parents, somebody older in your life, doesn't even have to be a relation. It could be your neighbor. Maybe your neighbor is 70, 80 years old. And you go over and maybe you help them do something that they need help with, carry something, and they'll start to talk to you, and you'll be kind of, oh boy, I'm hooked in now. I got to hear this. Well, take a different tack. Take a different way of looking at it and think, you know what? They're going to share something with me. It could be very important for me later on. Maybe tomorrow I'll face something that they were talking about today that will come to pass tomorrow. They're telling you about a situation in their life that happened, and you'll find out a short time after that there's a situation in your life that's very similar. and how they reacted to it could help you to react. And as I said in my last video, sometimes the mistakes are the ones we remember better. Sometimes the mistakes are the things that help us to learn. So, say for instance you do make a mistake. Let me ask you a straight up question. Are you willing to admit it? Sometimes we just blow it. Every human being on earth makes mistakes. It's just true. We do. And when we do we kind of honor that and say, I shouldn't have said that to you, or that wasn't a kind thing to say, or hey, I missed the nail. I missed it, and thought you were thinking something. Oh, I thought I heard you say something else. Responded it wrong to you. And are you able? And this is not easy for any of us. Are you able to say, "I'm sorry, I was wrong"? It's a biggie, I know. A lot of people have trouble with that. You're looking at one that does. We all do. We all have trouble saying, I was wrong. But you know what? It bears a good fruit in your life. If you're able to say when you're wrong that you were wrong. And if you're able to even say, I'm sorry for that. And even more than that, would you forgive me? That's a biggie. That's a real biggie there. Would you forgive me for saying that to you, for hurting your feelings? So many people today say such harsh things to one another. Sometimes I wonder if they really mean it, or if it's just a sudden thing that comes out of the mouth. And as soon as it's out, you say, oh, why did I say that? Why did I tell that person that they looked like whatever? Why couldn't I just keep my mouth shut and be kind, be gentle? You know what's really appealing to a young lady, man? Gentleness. And I don't mean mamby-pamby gentleness. I mean strong man gentleness. Gentleness. Women absolutely they find that very appealing. A man is strong, yet gentle and kind. Wow. That's a biggie, you know. You know what's appealing to a young man? A woman or a girl, a young woman, let's say, who is not cocksure of herself, not arrogant sure of herself, but someone who has that courage to stand up for herself and be counted and not cower away from something. That's appealing to a young man. Very appealing. Okay, so there's two little things for you. Boys for one, girls for another. Girls, want to be appealing? Look him in the eye. Mean it when you say something. Mean it. Boys, you want to be appealing? Be gentle. Be kind. You can look him in the eye as well, but look kindly into the eyes. All right? Okay. I'm going to try to keep these things short from now on. I know I get a little long-winded at times. I don't want to do that because, hey, short attention span. I've got it. If I'm going to listen to myself, I got to shorten my words. So anyway, this is Pop Gus coming at you. Hoping that everything is good with you. And don't forget that God Almighty loves you dearly. He loves you all the way down to your toenails, and he always will. All right? So I'm signing off now. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.